Hello there, a very good evening, bringing you live the happenings of another eventful day. This is your favorite primetime news update on Prime TVD. I'm Arshad Najudeen. First up, let's take a look at your headlines for today. The President emphasizing that the government is bound to carry forward free education has requested the opposition to refrain from betraying children to achieve political mileage. The President has told the Thai Buddhist delegation that the bond of Buddhism between Sri Lanka and Thailand is outstanding. The Finance Secretary claims that Sri Lanka's economy has now achieved an outstanding growth. Malaysia has strengthened operations in search of terrorists who are determined to revive the LTTE from Malaysian soil. The Ugandan Foreign Minister, after a visit to the north, has said that Sri Lanka's freedom and development are an example to the world. O-level applications should be forwarded before the 20th of next month. An immediate program is also in place to issue national IDs. And in headlines overseas, President Barack Obama announces changes to the US foreign policy. And now for those news in detail. First news here at home. President Rajapaksa has emphatically mentioned that the government is bound to carry forward free education, providing all the required facilities without curtailing it. As such, the President has requested the opposition not to betray the children with the aiming of achieving political mileage. The President laid this emphasis during a meeting with teachers and past pupils of Richmond and Mahinda College in Galle. The meeting took place at Temple Trees yesterday. The meeting was organized by the past pupils associations of the two colleges with the intention of promoting mutuality between the students of these colleges. Among those present were Richmond past pupils Presidential Chief of Staff Gamini Senara. Speaking further, the President said that his government is dedicated to uplift education of all children by granting equal facilities to all schools in the country. He pointed out that initiatives would be taken to effect the changes necessary by identifying the needs of the country. The opposition is carrying out a false campaign, saying that the government is determined to privatize schools. The President challenged the opposition to prove if the government has crafted any program to curtail free education. The President said that at a time when UNP stalwarts in the past objected, CWW Kanangara, who revolutionized education of Richmond College and who discharged a national task dedicated to introduce free education. The President said that he is proud as his father, D.A. Rajapaksa, who also studied in Richmond College, was able to raise his hand for the free education bill. A major revolution is taking place in education in the present era. Mahindodaya technical laboratories are being inaugurated in 1,000 schools in the island. It is the first time that this curricula has been introduced to schools. He emphasized that they are dedicated to carry forward the free education system without curtailing it. Physical facilities in every school have been developed. He said there should be a change in religious attitudes in the schools. The President mentioned that the national schools should get together to put forward the national responsibilities to the children as well as to the country. All schools in the island are being treated alike. He said he considered children of all schools as their children. In the meantime, the President has told the Anunnaika Thero of Thailand that the long-standing friendly and religious ties between Sri Lanka and Thailand are outstanding. President Rajapaksa made this reference when a Buddhist delegation, including the Anunnaika of the historic Wat Arun Vihara, a royal vihara belonging to the Thailand king's family, as well as the northern province of the country, the Venerable Parashri Sutwit Thera. The meeting took place at Temple Trees. The impetus received from the Buddha Dhamma to mold a society enriched with religious ideals is immense. In such a process, the President underscored the need for frequent advice to the laity from the Mahasangha. The Thai Anunnaika Thera pointed out that Sri Lankan citizens were leading peaceful lives, heeding the Dhamma. The Buddhist monks from Thailand chanted Setpirit near the Vijay Sri Jai Sri Mahabodhi at the Temple Tree premises and blessed the President. A special memento sent by the Thai king was presented to the president. President's Religious Affairs Coordinating Secretary, the Venerable Watinapa Somanangathera, and the Sri Lankan Airlines Regional Manager, Shamindra Pereira, were present on the occasion. The President inquires into the well-being of a sick child. The President, who summoned Saubhagya Devmani of Ransegoda in Kamburupitia, who is suffering from the bone-fracturing disease, to Temple Trees, made inquiries into her well-being. Drawing his attention to recent media reports on the child, President Rajapaksa took action to direct her to the Lady Ridgeway Hospital for special treatment. Saubhagya, who expressed her views to the President on her studies and other skills, displayed her capabilities to the President. Instructions were issued to the Housing Minister to provide a permanent house to her family. The President also issued instructions to provide her the necessary facilities for future treatment. Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the parents of the child were present on the occasion. You're watching Prime TV News. We are still here at home. Finance Secretary Dr. P.B. Jayasundara has said that Sri Lanka is moving towards a democratic economic path endorsed by the entire world. This concept was presented by the President to the Commonwealth. He said that the Sri Lankan economy has so far achieved an outstanding growth. The Finance Secretary was addressing the function organized with respect to the release of the annual report of the Finance Ministry. Dr. Jayasundara focused on a hoard of economic growth statistics and evaluations by financial organizations to paint an unstoppable Sri Lanka. The Finance Secretary turned to many ranking tables where Sri Lanka was in the top half for economic competitiveness, infrastructure, transparency and economic freedom. In terms of IT rankings, he pointed out that Sri Lanka was among the top 21 countries of the world. Touching on GDP, per capita income, inflation, exports and reserves, he tracked how they had all improved substantially over the last few years. Reserves that were about $1 billion have now reached above $8 billion. Next to China, Sri Lanka has the highest growth rate. Sri Lanka is overshooting her per capita target of $4,000 by 2016. It will likely be reached next year. The general consensus is Sri Lanka is a success story, but this is a story that is rarely told. By 2016, Dr. Jayasundara said Sri Lanka's debt as a percentage of GDP will be reduced to 65%, and the government has already focused on a historically low deficit for this year. The government is now looking at East Asian countries such as Japan and South Korea to map the next stage of growth. Malaysia has strengthened operation in the search for terrorists, are determined to revive the LTTE in Sri Lanka from Malaysian soil. About 4,000 Tamil refugees in Malaysia are being examined. The Malaysian police recently succeeded in apprehending 3 key Tiger terrorists who had been engaged in LTTE activities after securing identity cards of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Following their arrest, it had been possible to uncover many secrets of the LTTE. Malaysian Police Chief Tan Sri Khalid Abu Bakar said that following these developments, Tamil refugees numbering nearly 4,000 will be thoroughly examined. There was a key leader among the 3 suspects who were recently apprehended in Malaysia. The suspects who were brought to Sri Lanka are under full interrogation. In the meantime, authorities in Switzerland have said that applications seeking political asylum will be scrutinized again. Spokesperson of the Office of Migration Affairs of Switzerland, Céline Calprath, said that the applications will be separately scrutinized. A majority of the 2,000 applications seeking political asylum in Switzerland have been submitted by Tamils. The Swiss spokesperson pointed out that there is no clear proof to indicate that Tamil civilians who are deported to Sri Lanka are facing harassment. The Ugandan Foreign Minister has said that the freedom and development achieved by Sri Lanka is a fitting example to the entire world. Ugandan Foreign Minister Henry Oryem visited the northern province yesterday. Thereafter, during a meeting with Northern Governor G.A. Chandrasiri at the Governor's office in Jaffna, the Ugandan Foreign Minister said that the freedom enjoyed by the Northerners is significant. He pointed out that the development victories achieved by Sri Lanka in the past few years after the end of the 30-year-old conflict and the peace enthroned in the country are fitting examples to the world. The demining of the north and the resettlement done by the government headed by the president since routing terrorism earned accolades from the Ugandan minister. Democracy has been enthroned in the north. He emphasized that everyone should accept that effective changes had taken place in Sri Lanka during the reign of President Rajapaksa. Pointing out that democracy has been consolidated in the north, the governor asserted that several programs are in place to improve the economy and upgrade the livelihoods of the civilians. Applications for the GCE Ordinary Level Examination will be entertained only until the 20th of next month. The Commissioner General of Examinations has made a request that only one application should be forwarded by each candidate. The Examinations Department has announced that applications for the GCE Ordinary Level Examination will be received only until the 20th of June. School candidates should direct their applications through the principal, while private candidates should forward them through registered post. In the meantime, a special program is in place to provide identity cards to the ordinary level candidates. Around 400,000 candidates who will be sitting the examination are eligible to secure the National Identity Card. The Department for Registration of Persons has called on the candidates to submit the applications before the day after tomorrow, that is on Saturday. The department says there is a need to submit the applications in time so that it would facilitate its work. Now, Indo-Sri Lanka relations will further strengthen under the new Indian government led by Narendra Modi. This has been mentioned in a congratulatory message by the Sri Lankan External Affairs Minister to his Indian counterpart. Sri Lanka expressed satisfaction that India has appointed Sushma Swaraj as a new Minister of External Affairs in the Indian government. In a congratulatory message to Ms. Swaraj on her appointment as India's Minister of External Affairs, her Sri Lankan counterpart, Professor G.L. Pires, said Sri Lanka is pleased that she has been entrusted with the important assignment of the Minister of External Affairs at this momentous juncture for both India and the region. Recalling Swaraj's visit to Sri Lanka in April 2012, leading an all-party delegation of the Lok Sabha, Minister Pires in his message said the visit was a milestone in the two countries' relations. The Sri Lankan minister expressed confidence that the two countries can together guide already close and friendly relations between India and Sri Lanka to flourish and grow from strength to strength and usher in an era of greater partnership between the two countries in regional and global multilateral organizations, in particular SAARC and the United Nations. Children of war heroes of the security forces and police who had displayed exceptional performance at the GCE Ordinary Level Examination have been awarded educational scholarships. Scholarships were awarded to 50 children of families of war heroes of the armed forces and the police. It took place at the auditorium of the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development. These children are at present pursuing studies in the GCE advanced level classes. The scholarships were presented under the patronage of Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The National Savings Bank and several other institutions offered financial contributions towards the scholarship scheme. Chiefs of the Army and the Air Force as well as senior military officials graced the occasion. Now, two bridges along the Haputale-Boralanda road are being expanded and developed. The Road Development Authority has embarked on a program of expanding two small bridges along the Haputale-Boralanda road in close proximity to the Ratkarau area. The development of these bridges will enable heavy vehicles plying towards Valimada and Kapetipola areas from Colombo to reach the Valimada and Kapetipola towns within a short period. Hitherto, these vehicles had to take the route to travel to Valimada and Kappadipula via Bandaravilla. The length of one of the bridges that is being repaired will be 21.2 meters and the width 9.8 meters. The other is located close to this bridge and plans are afoot to develop this bridge too. The allocation made for this work is 80 million rupees. The work is being carried out under the supervision of the Bandaravilla Road Development Authority. The heroic soldiers did their utmost with much dedication to pulverize which many considered indomitable. They did so, providing a fitting lesson to the world. The hemorrhage would have continued within the country, if terrorism, which was considered as a mortal threat and was fast spreading like pestilence, was not vanquished. The Tiger terrorists who stormed into the Kadavat Madua village on May 29, 1987, gruesomely killed 7 innocent civilians and displayed their ruthlessness to the world. 6 war heroes gave up their lives on behalf of the country on May 29, 1992, in 2 terrorist attacks mooted in the Mullaitivu and Vavunia areas. On the same day, the brutal Tiger terrorists unleashed a heinous assault in the Vakaneri junction. As a result, 8 war heroes sacrificed their valuable lives on behalf of the unity of the motherland. The terrorists unleashed an attack at the army post at Jayantiaya on 29 May 1993, killing 5 war heroes. In the year 1998, also on a day like today, the war heroes were caught up in an assault unleashed by the terrorists in the Ambagamman area. 3 soldiers died in this attack. The terrorists mooted 2 attacks at Chavakacheri and Kanke Santure in Jaffna on 29 May in the year 2000. The number of war heroes who made supreme sacrifices in these attacks was 15. Again on 29 May 2006, the merciless terrorists opened fire and brutally killed 2 civilians in the Vaddukotte area. It was on the same day that they took away the lives of 12 war heroes in another attack in the Jaffna area. The Sea Tigers mooted an assault in areas affiliated to islands in Jaffna on 29 May 2008. 5 innocent civilians and 4 war heroes were killed in this assault. The brave soldiers succeeded in vanquishing terrorism which plagued the country in this manner on 18 May 2009 from the Nandikadal Lagoon. By then, the number of lives taken by these barbarians on 29 May throughout the dark era was 122. Among them were 30 innocent unarmed civilians. The other 92 were valiant soldiers. The members of the security forces who advanced in the humanitarian operations due to the unwavering leadership of President Rajapaksa and the prudent guidance of Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, vanquished terrorism and brought enduring peace to the motherland, making supreme sacrifices. This victory was achieved with much dedication. All communities are leading peaceful lives with happiness, fully reaping the fruits of freedom that has been enthroned in the country. Certain hostile forces are determined to destroy this peaceful environment, but the patriotic fraternity of the motherland will never permit such forces to raise their heads. The nation has proven this with clear evidence, emphasizing that they remained with courage and strength with their commander-in-chief and the government. These dark memories are being refreshed in these episodes such that the nation may act responsibly in a manner that ensures such destruction would not recur. Action has been taken to display the photographs of the war heroes who made supreme sacrifices in the battle to rout terrorism and discharge a noble service as an honor to the sacrifices they have made. And in tonight's Diversity, bringing you the details of the Times Square in Lower Manhattan, New York. Take a look.
Times Square is a major commercial intersection and a neighborhood in Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Times Square, iconified as the crossroads of the world, the center of the universe, and the Great White Way, is the brightly illuminated hub of the Broadway Theatre District, one of the world's busiest pedestrian intersections and a major center of the world's entertainment industry. Times Square is the world's most visited tourist attraction, hosting over 39 million visitors annually. Approximately 330,000 people pass through Times Square daily, many of whom are either tourists or people working in the area.
Coming up next is your World News Update, Prime World.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to you. The globe trotting begins. This is Prime World with Sasank Das. Stay with us.
US President Barack Obama has outlined a new foreign policy strategy in an address at West Point Military Academy in New York State. He said he would look for alternatives to what he described as military adventures. As part of his plans, a €3.6 billion fund would be made available to fight terrorism. The US president also defended his preference for an international consensus to deal with a crisis and made reference to the conflict in Ukraine. During his address, the US president suggested that he would be reluctant to use military force unless there was a direct threat on the United States. Transparency group WikiLeaks blasted fellow secret spillers, The Intercept, for censoring the name of a country targeted by the United States surveillance. WikiLeaks alleges the nation to be Afghanistan, but the story might not stop right there. When journalist Glenn Greenwald and the co-authors of the article in The Intercept wrote about the latest US National Security Agency spy operation to be leaked, they alleged that the NSA has been collecting the contents seemingly of all cell phone calls dialed or received in two nations, the Bahamas and an unnamed country X. After scolding The Intercept for withholding the name of that second country, WikiLeaks alleged that the other subject of the previously unreported NSA program was Afghanistan. President Vladimir Putin has said that he is hopeful that Ukraine can resolve a dispute with Russia's state-controlled gas company, Gazprom. Russia wants Ukraine to pay a back bill of $2 billion this month in exchange for lower prices in the future or face a cutoff that would also affect Europe. Speaking in televised remarks at cabinet session, Putin signaled that Russia could negotiate new terms for gas shipments to Ukraine if it pays off part of its debt. Energy Minister Alexander Novak reported at the session that Ukraine must pay the $2 billion bill and another $500 million before 7th of next month. Putin said Russia has already shipped too much gas to Ukraine without payment. The Soyuz spacecraft has successfully docked with the International Space Station, delivering the new crew after launching 6 hours earlier from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. The Soyuz rocket carrying a Soyuz TMA-13M spacecraft successfully lifted off. The spacecraft was piloted by Russian commander Maxim Surev, American flight engineer Gregory Weissman, and European astronaut Alexander Gerst. The 3 space travelers are scheduled to spend 5.5 months on the ISS. They have joined American Steve Swanson and Russian Oleg Armeyev and Alexander Skortsov, who have been at the ISS since 27th March and are scheduled to return to Earth on 10th September.
Copy.
All aircraft, we've got a report of a wildfire.
There's a time
Dangerous work,
in your life
but that's the job of a firefighter.
when the world
Planes, Fire and Rescue is an upcoming American 3D computer-animated comedy adventure film. It is a sequel to the 2013 film Planes, a spin-off of Pixar's Cars franchise produced by Disney Toon Studios. Dane Cook will reprise his role of plain Dusty Crophopper, with Julie Bowen joining the cast as Lil Dipper.
never let go, gotta learn to grow. Watch me as I touch the sky.
Dusty joins forces with veteran fire and rescue helicopter Blade Ranger and his courageous air attack team. Together, the fearless team battles a massive wildfire, and Dusty learns what it takes to become a true hero.
I can do this.
You're not certified.
Just give him a shot.
He's not certified.
We need every plane we've got.
Crap hopper!
The movie will be released theatrically by Walt Disney Pictures on 18th of July.
Let's ride the silk elevator, boy!
Copy that, head base.
Never let it go, gotta let it go. Watch me as I touch the sky. Still alive, still alive.
And with that, we mark the end of Prime World for tonight. Back to the main news desk.
And finally, on to Prime Sports. Chris Jordan claimed 5 wickets as England bowled Sri Lanka out for 67 runs, their third lowest total in one-day internationals, to help win the third ODI with a resounding 10-wicket victory. England has a 2-1 lead in the 5-match series heading into the fourth encounter at Lord's. Chasing the low score, England cantered across the finishing line with returning captain Alastair Cook and Ian Bell carrying England to the required total in 12.1 overs. The series continues at Lord's on Saturday before concluding at Edgbaston on 3rd of next month. Serena, the defending French Open champion and a 17-time major winner, lost to Garbiñe Muguruza of Spain 6-2, 6-2. Muguruza was playing at the French Open for only the second time in her career. She lost in the second round last year, but reached the fourth round at the Australian Open in January. Meanwhile, Roger Federer, the 2009 French Open champion, beat qualifier Diego Sebastian 6-3, 6-4, 6-4. The Swiss will play Russian 31st seed Dmitry Tursunov in the next round for a place in the last 16. That's all for this evening. Before we wind up, Prime News is also streamed online on www.itnnews.lk. That's a great pleasure having you with us. I'm Arshad Najudeen with the entire Prime TV News crew, wishing you a fabulous evening and a very good night.